All right, welcome in. We are here outside NRG Stadium, Houston, Texas. Got the 21st and 22nd teams of my training camp trip here. The Houston Texans and the Carolina Panthers had a joint practice. We have 5 takeaways from Texans camp. Takeaway number 1, Houston's depth at the skill positions has really shown up in training camp and is already paying off. Now, Brevin Jordan had a fantastic camp at tight end. They have Dalton Schultz there, so they'll be okay with Jordan hurt. Not ideal, of course, but Joe Mixon gets banged up at running back. Nick Chubb has looked like a young version of himself. They got their fingers crossed that that'll hold up once he starts getting knocked around a little bit more. And then at receiver, there's a lot of competition. We know Nico Collins is the #1 guy, but beyond that, with the turnover they've had at that spot, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel coming out of Iowa State look like pros already, have picked up the offense very, very quickly and look like they'll be ready to play. Christian Kirk, of course, is a vet, had a nice touchdown catch here right there in that end zone today. And then Xavier Hutchinson's a young player who really has kind of quickly picked up the new offensive coordinator, Nick Caley's offense. So at the skill position players, it looks like the Texans are in really good shape. Takeaway number 2, speaking of Caley, the relationship between him and CJ Stroud is really going to be key to where this team goes. Talked to both those guys about it after practice. We'll have a story up on SI.com later in the month. But you could see where the rapport between the two is already there and how they're building an offense specifically for CJ. Now, what does that mean? Well, one of CJ's greatest strengths is his football IQ and his ability to see the field and his ability to go deep into his progressions and his ability to manipulate a defense. And so when he was at Ohio State, they had him doing a lot of that stuff. The last 2 years, his first 2 years in the pros, he was doing less of it. Now that's swinging back around. And Nick Caley's worked with Matthew Stafford the last couple of years, worked with Tom Brady before that. And so he has a lot of experience with advanced quarterbacks. He knows how to put the offense in their hands, and the plan is to put the offense in CJ's hands, which again will give them an advantage in that when the play clock runs down, they're able to be a little bit more flexible than they've been the last couple of years. Takeaway number 3, this is no secret. The offensive line question is real. It's here. It's something that is going to be lingering until we see what it looks like in the opener against the Rams, and that is a really, really tough Rams defensive front that they'll be going up against. They have about 8 players that are competing for the 5 starting spots. They're moving guys around. The one to keep an eye on, Cam Robinson, the veteran who was with the Vikings at the end of last year, obviously spent a lot of years with the Jaguars. When Cam Robinson went down, Ariante Ursary from the University of Minnesota stepped in, and since he's shown edge, he's shown toughness. He's a real contender for the left tackle job right now, and if he winds up seizing the left tackle job, then I think things get a little bit easier. We'll see when they get Trent Brown back. We'll see when they get Cam Robinson back, but finding the right 5 out of those 8 is paramount, and obviously the first step would be left tackle, and they do feel like Ursary, a big, powerful left tackle, has a chance to be a really good player in the pros. Takeaway number 4, the strength of the team. Probably the strongest unit on the team is the defensive line. They go about 8 deep. And so you know the stars, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Those 2 guys are complete freak shows. What's going to make them even more effective? They feel like they're going to be able to roll guys through there. And now you get guys like Sheldon Rankins who are going to be able to really contribute to what they're doing up front. And so keeping Anderson and Hunter fresh deep into the year, they really feel like it's going to be a difference maker for those guys. Finally, takeaway number 5, and this will tell you where the defense is at. Probably the biggest questions are depth at safety and nickel. And if those are your questions at this stage of training camp, I'd say you're in pretty good shape. The D-line, again, is the strength. At linebacker, Christian Harris, a couple of other guys have really showed well. At corner, you've got, maybe the best corner in football, and Derek Stingley Jr. And then Kamari Lassiter, they feel like he is trending to becoming an elite player as well. They feel like they might have the best corner tandem in all of the NFL. So now it's who's going to play behind guys like Jalen Petrie in the middle of the field. I think that's going to be the real question. If they have an injury, there could be an issue there. But that is probably the biggest question. Again, if your question on defense is depth at nickel and safety, I'd say you're probably in pretty good shape. And look, like that's sort of the overarching thing from here in general. Like D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio have this place in a very, very good spot. And with a chance, maybe, with a chance to elevate to that upper level in the AFC if the offensive line can come together. That's the big thing. That offensive line group has to come together. That's it for us from steamy Houston. Again, there's the stadium in the background. We'll have a report later coming on the Panthers. I'll see you guys then.